"You're old and useless," he said, slicing the air with his fork like it was a gavel. "So sign the house over and find an old-age home." The Christmas lights behind him flickered. One bulb kept dying and coming back, and for a second I focused on that instead of the way my daughter stared at her plate. The roast smelled burnt. Someone's phone buzzed and stopped. His voice didn't shake. Mine didn't exist. "My name is Evelyn Harper. I'm 52. When did love quietly turn into a room where everyone watches you be erased?" He slid the papers toward me with 2 fingers, careful not to touch my hand. The tablecloth was embroidered with holly leaves. I'd ironed it that morning. My daughter's boyfriend cleared his throat, practiced, like he'd rehearsed this speech in a mirror that never talked back. "It's practical," he added, softer now. "You'll be taken care of." A chair at the end of the table creaked, empty, as if it leaned forward to listen. I smiled. Not because I was calm, because I finally understood something sharp and clean. That this wasn't about the house, that it was about who he thought would protect me. And in that quiet I realized I wasn't alone anymore. I was just done begging to be seen. My smile seemed to confuse him. He blinked once, then laughed under his breath like I'd missed the punchline of my own life. "Good," he said. "I knew you'd understand." The paper rustled as he pushed it closer. I didn't touch it. I traced a finger along the edge of my wineglass instead. "Hold steady." The room hummed, heater clicking, distant traffic, the low carol still playing from the speaker no one had bothered to turn off. My daughter finally looked up. Her eyes were glossy, unfocused, like she was watching a scene through thick glass. "Mom," she whispered, not finishing the sentence. She never did anymore. He leaned back, satisfied. "We'll need a signature tonight," he said. "The lawyer's expecting it first thing Monday." He glanced at his watch. Gold. Bought with confidence that wasn't his. I noticed then, the envelope wasn't sealed. He'd already opened it. Already assumed. I reached for my napkin and dabbed my mouth slow. The mirror in the hallway caught my reflection. Creased skin, silver at the temples, eyes still mine. The mirror didn't look away. "Before I sign anything," I said quietly, "could you repeat what you just said to me?" His grin widened. "Gladly." The front door handle turned. Once. Twice. No one else seemed to hear it, but my heart did. "Of course," he said, voice rising with confidence. "You're old. You can't manage this place anymore. It makes sense for you to step aside." He said it slowly this time, like he was teaching a child. My daughter's hand twitched toward mine, then stopped halfway as if an invisible line had been drawn between us. The carol ended. Silence rushed in and sat down with us. The door handle turned again. Firmer now. I folded my napkin, edges aligned. "Louder," I said. "I want everyone to hear." His eyebrows lifted. A flicker, annoyance, then triumph. "Fine," he said. "You're old and useless. This house should be in our name. You'll be safer in a facility." The mirror in the hallway reflected the tree lights, bending them into long, thin streaks. My reflection stood still, listening. A knock landed on the door. Thought. Professional. My daughter flinched. "Did you invite someone?" she asked him finally. He shook his head, irritated. "Ignore it." The knock came again, followed by a voice. "Come. Mail. Police department. Could someone open the door, please?" The chair at the end of the table scraped back on its own, it seemed. My daughter's face drained of color. I stood. For the first time that night I spoke without smiling. "No," I said gently, "don't ignore that. Because some things once said out loud don't get to stay inside the room." He stood too, fast enough to knock his chair back. "This is ridiculous," he snapped, already moving toward the hallway. "You called them over a family discussion." Family. The word hung crooked in the air. The knock came a third time, closer somehow, like the house itself had leaned in. I followed him, my slippers whispering against the floor. The mirror by the hall caught us both, him stiff, jaw set, me calm in a way that surprised even me. The mirror didn't soften anything. When I opened the door, cold air slipped inside, carrying the smell of wet pavement and pine. 2 officers stood there. 1 woman, 1 man. The woman's eyes met mine first. She didn't rush. She didn't smile. She waited. "Yes," my daughter's boyfriend said, stepping half in front of me, like a shield that only protected himself. The female officer spoke. We received a call regarding coercion and attempted property fraud. My daughter made a small sound behind us. Not a word. Just a crack. He laughed once, sharp. This is a misunderstanding. I reached past him and handed the officer my phone. The screen was still open. Recording paused, waiting like it had known. I'd like to finish dinner, I said quietly, but I think we need to talk first. The officer looked at the phone. Then at him. And in that moment I felt something shift. Not victory. Clarity. The house went unnaturally quiet, like it was holding its breath. Even the heater stopped clicking. The only sound was the officer's thumb tapping my screen as she listened. His words filled the hallway again. Old, useless, sign it tonight, echoing back to him without my face attached. My daughter pressed her palm to her mouth. I could feel her shaking through the floorboards, or maybe that was me finally noticing my own legs. That recording is illegal, he said quickly. Too quickly. You can't. I can, I replied. My voice surprised me. Steady. It's my home. I'm part of the conversation. The male officer asked him to step aside. He didn't, at first. His shoulder brushed mine hard, a small punishment. Touch can say what words won't. The officer's hand landed on his arm, firm but polite. He moved. In the dining room, the table looked abandoned. Candles burned low, wax pooling like time had softened. The mirror down the hall showed my back straight for the first time all evening. We also received a report from the county clerk, the female officer said almost casually, about documents submitted in advance. Signatures pre-filled. His face changed then. Not fear. Calculation. My daughter whispered my name. Just once. Like she was testing if it still belonged to me. The officer turned to me. Ma'am, would you like to file a formal statement? I looked at the papers on the table. At the pen waiting so patiently. Yes, I said. But not here. We moved into the living room where the tree lights hummed softly, unaware of the shift. The officer stood near the doorway, giving the room just enough space to breathe. He stayed by the wall, arms crossed now, smaller somehow without the table between us. The female officer opened a small notebook. Paper. Pen. Ordinary tools for extraordinary moments. Please explain what happened tonight, she said. I spoke slowly. Not to accuse, just to place things back where they belonged. His words. The papers. Pressure. How he'd practiced saying old like it was a diagnosis, not an insult. The mirror across the room caught my mouth moving, my hands still. My daughter sat on the couch, knees pulled in. She didn't interrupt. That hurt more than his words, but it also told the truth. He scoffed once. She agreed, he said. She smiled. Yes, I replied, turning to him for the first time. I smiled because I was listening. The male officer asked him about the documents. About the clerk's report. About why my name appeared in a file I'd never seen. His answers thinned, stretched. The tree light nearest the window blinked out and stayed dark. For the first time that night he said nothing. Silence did most of the work after that. It settled between us, heavy and exact. The officers exchanged a look. Not dramatic, just practiced. The kind that comes after enough truth has been placed on the table. The male officer asked him to hand over his phone. He hesitated just long enough to betray himself. When he did, the sound of it leaving his hand was dull, final. Like a door closing without being slammed. My daughter stood up then. Fully. She walked to the mirror and stopped there, staring at her own face as if she'd never seen it under this light. You told me she'd be fine with it, she said. Not to him. To the glass. He opened his mouth. Closed it. The female officer nodded once. We'll need you to come with us, sir. This will continue downtown. He looked at me. Really looked. Waiting for something. Mercy maybe. Or fear. I met his eyes and felt nothing sharp. Just distance. Clean and wide. As they guided him toward the door, he said my name like it was a mistake I'd made. I didn't answer. Because for the first time in years, the house was quiet in a way that belonged to me. After the door closed, the house didn't rush to fill the space. It stayed still, respectful. The officer's footsteps faded. The tree lights hummed again, uneven but alive. I stood where I was, palms warm, heart finally catching up to the moment. My daughter turned to me. Her face was red, undone. I didn't know how to stop it, she said. Not an excuse. Just a truth arriving late. I nodded. That was all I had. Some reckonings don't need speeches. Later, still the same night, still the same breath of time, I walked down the hallway alone. The mirror waited where it always had. I looked at myself fully this time. Not as a mother being negotiated. Not as a woman being erased. Just as someone who stayed. The papers were still on the table. I folded them once. Then again. I placed them in the fire-safe drawer beneath the stairs, next to the deed that already had my name written in ink that hadn't asked permission. Outside, a police radio murmured somewhere far off. Inside, the house settled around me, recognizing its keeper. I turned off the tree lights one by one. The mirror went dark last.